Coming up.
I was born into darkness, physically and spiritually. I was passed the baton to become the high-ranked devil worshiper in New York City.
A lot of people watching like, oh, please, that's on the movies. That didn't really go on. Did this really take place?
Oh, that's not the movies, believe me.
John Ramirez unmasks the demonic and reveals how a divine encounter with God changed his life.
When I came back, I knew, I felt in my heart that the Lord said, this is the only opportunity I can give you.
The conversation starts now.
What does it take to overcome darkness, and is there real power in the dark arts? Today we're taking a look inside the world of the occult to expose the truth about its power and weaknesses. Joining me around the table is Rachel Lamb. Are you interested in this subject today?
This is very interesting. Not a lot of people are talking about stuff like this, and I know it's something that's, you know, people encounter this every day. It's all over TV now. It's, you know, in our world.
April Simons, how are you?
I'm doing great. Excited about this show.
Yeah, this is good, isn't it?
It is. It's good for us to hear as the body of Christ.
Yeah, and to talk about it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Cindy Murdoch,
Hi there.
are you ready?
I'm ready, and I realize what will be unveiled and revealed today, that we need to really walk in the authority of the power that's been given to us, because darkness is real.
And to talk about that today is John Ramirez. Welcome to the table.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm like, wow, I'm blessed to be here with you. Thank you so much.
Well, for John Ramirez, the occult is not just a spooky topic he studied. He grew up surrounded by witchcraft, spells, and rituals, and in fact, rose to the level of high priest. But despite all the power he had gained, he would find there was still a power greater than he'd ever known. Now, I know the enemy hates it when we expose him, and that's what we're going to do today. For those of you that are dabbling in any of this type of stuff, or you have a family member that is, I really want you to pay close attention. But let's go back to the beginning. You were born into a family where some of this ritualistic stuff was going on. Talk about that.
Yeah, I was born into darkness, physically and spiritually. A broken home, broken family, abused dad. I grew up in that kind of environment. My dad was home, he was still absent. There was no love in the house. There was cruelty, beat my moms all the time. My dad was an alcoholic, his grandfather was an alcoholic, generational curse. And on top of that, to put the icing on the cake, was all demonic witchcraft, from Santeria, from spiritualism, from communicating, they call it the dead, but it's not the dead, it's demons, familiar spirits. So all that stuff, at the age of 8 years old, I was already engulfed in the dark side. I'll see demons walk in my house like it was family. I'll see shadows. Someday I'll see people.
Were some of them gruesome looking, normal looking?
No, very, I tell you, when I used to meet with the devil in my later years, the devil was very charismatic, very handsome looking. And as you know, the Bible says he was an angel that was very beautifully made. So he'll come in that form of a human, charismatic, very elegant, very well-spoken.
So you had a volatile relationship with your father.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that. It had a huge impact on you as a little boy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was a home that it was just, I mean, it was silent pain at home. There was no money for food, wear the same clothes throughout the year.
This is in, what, the Bronx, New
In the
York?
Bronx, South Bronx, yeah. South Bronx, it was, outside of the neighbor was killings. We lived in a building, there was only 3 families out of 30 families. The building was empty, we were like squatters.
Wow.
Now, my father was a cab driver. My father was making great money. He got a support for his family. There was that, you know, there was no lack of money on his behalf. But he would take the money and spend it on women on the streets, and women that he would go out with, women he meet, nothing home. So growing up in that environment, see my father beat my mother, come home drunk, demanding stuff, devil worshiping. He had a room set up, I mean, just a room set up with all his demonic activity. We would see how he devil worshiped. We would feel the presence of the devil come into the house. One time, he turned the whole living room on fire. We thought the whole house was going to go on fire. The whole building was going to go on fire.
Yeah. You know, something did happen when you were 8 years old that might have been maybe a turning point where you really sold yourself to the devil, and it was in church, right? Did you go to a a service?
Well, I went, actually, it was like a schoolyard. Like in the South Bronx, we had a lot of activity in schoolyards, a lot of music playing in schoolyards. So there was this individual pastor at the time. He set up a platform and he had like an event out, Open Doors. And the event out, Open Doors, he preached, I guess that's what they called it at the time. I didn't know what was going on. He got on the mic and said some words about Jesus and love and all this stuff. But then he came off the stage and he said, I want to pray for all the people here. And I got excited. I was like, wow, he's going to pray for me. And you could feel the love of God in the schoolyard. I mean, it was open air. You could feel the love. And when he stepped out and he started to pray for people, the closer he got to me, my heart was just pumping for joy, because I had never been loved. Only my mom would say once in a while she loved us, and my dad would never say that. So when he came and he looked at me up and down, and like was like a showboat type of thing. He looked at me up and down, and he went to the next person, prayed for the next person, passed me by.
Because he thought you were too young.
He thought I was too young and insignificant to pray for.
Yeah.
And that really broke me. That really, really, really set the course for me to be recruited to the dark side.
Because you felt rejection, I'm sure. Like, well, what does the Lord love me? When he didn't mean it that way, but the whole point in that, Rachel, you made earlier, how important is it to reach children?
Here you are, you feel rejected at home and unloved at home, and here's this opportunity when you feel like you're finally going to be accepted, you're finally going to be noticed, and you're passed by, and that's when the enemy used that small open door, that insecurity to work in your life. I know that your dad did some witchcraft and that was in the home, but when was that moment when you really turned and got involved in the occult?
It's crazy because I went with my aunt and my mom's. I was a little boy, somewhere like almost my end of the year, 8 years old, somewhere around there, close to my birthday. We went to my aunt had to go. My aunt was a witch, so my aunt had to go every 6 months. You have to get an assessment by the devil, card reading, to see what kind of grade you get. So my aunt went with my mom's, dragged my mom's in with her. My mom was kind of dabbling in the occult just because she was like, my mom didn't know how to say no.
Right.
And out of
fear.
fear.
And they would do these like tarot cards and
tarot
that kind
cards.
of stuff.
They would do parties, occult parties, occult rituals. So they dragged me into this lady's house.
Which are all very dangerous, by the way.
Everything is dangerous. I mean, you can still be in 3 foot of water and a shark can still get you.
Yeah.
So anything with the Ouija board, any tarot card, anything that points to the occult is dangerous because it's just open door, open portal, an opportunity for the devil to get legal rights over your life.
Right.
So when I went to this place, the lady was drawn to me. And she started reading the cards to my aunt. She told my mother that if I didn't do this ceremony, that's when I was going to lose my eyesight.
Wow.
So my mom saw all her furniture in her bedroom for $250 to do the ceremony for me. And that was my introduction to lose my whole childhood. And I went to the dark side.
Wow. At 13, what happened?
At 13, my dad, we were sitting in the living room, my mom's, some people, and my aunt coming busting into the doors. They killed Junior. And my dad got shot in the face for a woman that wasn't even his at the age of 33 years old when he had a good wife home. And my dad passed on. And then I became the high priest of the home.
Wow. You know what is interesting to me, out of all this, it's so hard for at least me to relate because I was raised in a Christian home, but it just shows me that not only does God have a plan for your life, but the devil also has a plan for your life.
Oh,
it's our choice.
Absolutely.
And so in all this, like, I even wonder how you, being raised in this home, how did you ever get to church at 8? And then did you ever, at 13, were you ever encountered with Jesus?
Well, the church situation was something I went to the schoolyard to play outside in the playground. But the pastor was there doing an event.
Okay.
So that was my only encounter with the church. After that, was just gruesome darkness. And then at the age of 13, my father got shot in the face. We went to his funeral. And the crazy thing, we went to my dad's funeral. You had like 50-something women show up to the funeral.
Wow.
That was like a slap in the face for my mom, my family. Wow. And then the devil said, now you're the high priest. Now, and then when I was younger, I remember I was laying in bed 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning to go to school, and I would get up and pray. And I would pray to the devil and say, kill my dad, and I'll become the next high priest. So the devil said, I kill the old to take the new.
Wow.
So my dad died at 33, and I became the high priest.
How did you feel like when your dad died? Because you never got that kind of reconciliation with him.
Never, you know, I think at the moment, because the torment in the house, the abuse in the house, the physical, the spiritual abuse, the love not being there, I felt a sense of peace because now he's gone. My mother don't get beat up anymore. Now love will come into the house. We'll probably get some good clothes. There was Christmases that we would get up in the morning. There was no gifts under the tree. So all that stuff. I said, now my dad's gone, and we're going to be able to celebrate like a family.
So talk a little bit about how you then moved into that role as a high priest in the satanic occult. And would you gather others around and do these rituals? And I mean, a lot of people watching are like, oh, please, that's on the movies. That didn't really go on. Did this really
that's
take
not the
place?
movies, believe me. That's the devil is just as real as the sun. And the devil has his kingdom, and it runs by military ranks. Jesus has his kingdom, and you have to make a decision who you want to give the soul to, who you want to give your life to. And running into this whole thing and going to the occult. Already at the age of 8, I was already going to demon church. Demon church it was from 7 to 8 because I had to sit around a table like this, imagine, white cloth, water in the middle, water means purification, and then sit with high-ranking warlocks that have been in the religion for 30 to 50 years that were training me to be groomed, to pass the baton. Are you passing your baton to your kids as a Christian?
Wow.
What are you passing to your kids? You know, and this is, I was passed the baton to become the high-ranked devil worshiper in New York City. From the age of 8 to the age of 35 and to encounter Christ. And to me, demon church was normal. To me, it was okay. It was fine. Now, because they said, well, God will start, we God will finish. We God will start, we God will I thought they were talking about heaven.
So what kind of stuff would go on in these rituals? And what about cursing and spells and going after people, especially non-Christians, to affect their lives in a negative way? Did that kind of stuff go on?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was being trained to know colors because demon work with colors, numbers. I was being trained by knowing what region, what territories demons operate in, like the Haiti, what demon operate there, what principalities in charge of Haiti, what principality is in charge of Islam, what principalities in charge in New York City, how to shift principalities after every year. They do a ceremony to shift one principality to one region. That's why you see patterns and cycles that happen in the news. Say you see the riots here, and then you see the riots jump from that place, it jumps here. So what I do now, I watch the news and I break it and I curse it and I cut out the root and uproot it so it won't pass over to get going, because that's the way it works.
So the enemy is very strategic, is what you're saying.
Big time.
So he has principalities and powers set up over territories, very strategic. Another thing, and I've interviewed someone before that actually got involved in this as well, the astral projection.
Oh, that was me. I had mild jet blue.
And so your spirit would leave your body. And again, this was a satanic ritual that is really very dangerous.
Yeah, like where did you go?
It's you alive when you do that. I mean, you know that you're very conscious of what you're doing. So it's very dangerous, because if the person don't know how to do it, they'll be pronounced dead. Period. In the conversation, pronounced dead. So
there are people that had done it and weren't able to come back.
Come back and die in the bed, pronounced dead, natural causes.
What do you do?
So the reason the astral projecting was so important to the dark side, it was so important to the dark side because if you can astral project and you've been escorted by a demon to astral project and go to certain neighborhoods. See, I was able to go to a certain neighborhood and curse the neighborhood, because if I can take over the neighborhood and the spirit realm, I was able to take over the people. And the only neighborhoods I was not able to take over were the Christian neighborhoods that were up at night praying for the neighborhood.
Oh, my goodness.
They have more power than anything I can imagine.
So did you recognize that Christians had a power available, and how did you feel about that? Because you were on the other side.
Upset. Upset because I didn't finish the task. I didn't finish the mission. I will astral project. I will go into the neighborhood. I will be like midair, and then I see this group of people, and I know they were Christian because they were at the time they were dressed funny. They were dressed with the whole big ponytail and all that other stuff. They were around. They was real hardcore.
They were holiness Christians. Yes.
Holy roly.
They were probably praying in a language too you didn't understand.
They were holding hands.
Yeah.
In a circle, and that means unity. That means there's power in unity. You can't break that.
That's where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name.
And I was not able to penetrate that, and they would chase me out the prayers, and they would chase me out of the neighborhood, and I would just leave frustrated and angry because that night nothing got accomplished.
Did you recognize that it was Jesus and his power was stronger than yours?
At the moment, no, because the frustration, the anger, and the bitterness that I had towards Christian, I became bigger and bigger and bigger. So my mind was so saturated with. I didn't have a mind. I didn't have a conscience. I had a mission to destroy, kill, steal, and destroy. Every Christian you come across, recruited Christians, hurt Christian families, hurt Christian babies, and all this other stuff. And then.
How would you recruit people? I mean, what would you say that would make somebody want to do this?
Power. See, God is all powerful. We know. I mean, there's no one like Jesus. I mean, He is.
And Satan copies everything. He has no original idea.
No, because Satan can't come up with nothing because he's a created being.
Yeah.
So then he can create, but he can mimic and copy as an angel of light. Yeah. So discernment in the body of Christ is so important. So you can discern from one voice from the other. So Satan copies everything that Jesus Christ does, even to the point that Santeria sacrifice animals today. As you know, in Miami, it's legal. They sacrifice animals because they're copying the Old Testament.
Yeah. Wow. And
so
they use fear.
Fear is the number one.
With the tarot cards, they would
fear
use
is number
that
one
fear.
factor. Because if I can implant fear in you, then I can control you.
And then big money.
Wow.
You make huge money.
So what were some of the devastating things that you saw happen to people as a result of being involved in all this?
I think the devastating thing that happened to people is it's that they put their hope in a place that is not real. Revealed to the sense that it's a dead-end street. Satanism, Satan, the kingdom of darkness is a dead-end place. And they put their hope there, they put their money there, they invest their families in this place. And and the results of that is nothing but brokenness.
So the end...
It's destruction.
The end of that is destruction, which is what the Bible tells us.
Yes, the end of that is destruction.
And so even you, as you were moving up in the ranks of darkness, did you become disillusioned at any point?
One of the things that grabbed me the most is I was a master liar because my daddy was a master liar at the time. So the point, I would come from clubs. I would go to 5 clubs, 4 clubs to recruit people to the dark side because I was very good at telling people the future. But there's no future. That's just a lie, deception. So I came to a point that I was lay in my bed the next day or night, and I would sit there in pure darkness, and I didn't know what to laugh or cry, because I was empty. I would do all these things. I would do all these false miracles. I would do all these false healings. I would do all these false things and then sit there and look at the situation and then recruited my daughter to the dark side too. So when I don't finish, she can finish.
Yeah. So, it's interesting that you're sharing that. He's 33 at this point and had seen a lot of power demonstrated as it relates to the kingdom of darkness. But it's so beautiful to me how the Lord, through the Holy Spirit, will allow you to realize that emptiness and brokenness that you have on the inside. And you got to that point where you realized it wasn't enough.
Exactly.
And you were empty, you were lonely. You went to, I guess, sleep that night. And you said you had a vision or a dream. This is very important because I believe there's people watching right now that you can relate to what he's talking about. In fact, you just stopped to watch because of the conversation that we're having. You never watched the show before. And but there's a reason why. Is because God's is gonna speak to you, and you're going to have a supernatural encounter where God reveals himself. So I want you to be ready for that. But listen to John's story and tell us what happened, because I don't know how the Lord could have reached you except by way of something supernatural at this point, because you had gone so deep into darkness. But I love that about Jesus. He continues to reach for us, doesn't he?
The amazing thing was that, I was one night, before I went, the whole situation, how God reached me, he woos you with his love. It's an amazing love that you can't say no to. It just melts you, because I remember one morning I got up and I was watching a TV show. I'm not gonna mention the show. I was watching this crazy TV show. I never watched something that was wholesome anyway at the time. I was watching a crazy TV show and I heard the voice of God for the first time. He said, my son, I'm coming. My son, when I was in darkness, my son, when I was in darkness, I'm coming soon. What are you gonna do with your life? And that was one encounter there. And then And then a week later, I went to this demonic meeting, 17 warlocks, the highest warlocks in the region, went to this meeting, and then, went to this meeting. And the thing was that it was like 10 degrees outside New York City. And we went at night to this meeting, to this base, we sat there, and then the principalities came to find out which one was going to be ushered from one place to another. The reason I'm bringing that, to just bring it to this point, it's that I sat in this meeting, and I was like dumbfounded. I was like numb, because I was feeling the love of Jesus Christ, but I was committed to the dark side for 25 years. So I was betwixt two worlds. Yeah. So the principality came down about after 12 midnight. He came down. He speaking demonic language. He called me son. Could I say something to you? So I spoke back to the demon, and I told the demon, what do you want to tell me? He said, this is what I want to tell you. He said, you know what, Jesus Christ, you know what God threw us out of heaven? Because he was jealous of us. And then at 10 degrees weather, I walked home that night. And I said, well, then God got to be bigger, because God kept heaven. And then a week later, I go to hell. I go into this sleep that was something like if you put someone into anesthesia, sleep. And then I end up in this train that's going faster than human light. Human light. I mean, nothing that fast.
Were there other people on the train with you?
The place, there was no room in the train. And then the people, you could feel the fear in the train, because they know they were going somewhere, there was no return.
Could you just hear the chug of the train, or could you hear people, or was it silent?
The train was you could feel the speed of the train, but the speed of the train, it was nothing but fear. Wow. And then Jezebel was on the train, calling me traitor, traitor, traitor.
And what did she look like?
She was dressed in a very sophisticated, like a Wall Street woman.
Wow.
It was like that elegant. Traitor, traitor.
How did you know it was Jezebel?
Because I had a contract with Jezebel, too. So I knew it was Jezebel, and she was, traitor, you traitor, you traitor, you traitor. And then when the train hit hell, it was such an explosion, a wreck. And then the doors opened. And when I came out, stepped out, there was a suffocation, and there was a heat, and there was a desperation that wraps around you like a garment.
How real was this to you?
Well, to leave 25 years of devil worshiping and take a chance that the devil was going to kill me if I left, or all the secrets of the kingdom of darkness, to lead that, to follow men that I never knew. Wow. It was that real.
It was that real. Okay, so when you woke up or came out of it,
when I came out of it,
did you pray at that moment, or?
Yes. When I came out of it, it was you could feel my spirit go back into my body. It's a funny thing, because my spirit went into my body like if I was in ICU. And then when I used to project, my spirit would come into my body in a different way. So when I came back, I knew, I felt in my heart that the Lord said, this is the only opportunity I can give you, because you've done so much damage and so much harm that you only...
So you knew this was your...
You only have one chance to make right with me. And I bent my knee to the cross of Jesus Christ, and I threw away $100,000 worth of witchcraft stuff, and I traded daddies for the one that was real. And I left the counterfeit.
And so what happened when you knelt your knee at the cross?
I knelt my knee at the cross, and I felt the love that wrapped around me. And he said, you are my son, and I call you to be an evangelist and warn my church of the dangers of the dark side.
I have heard so many people that I've interviewed over the last 30 years, thousands of people, literally, but so many times that have come from that type of experience, and that's how they would describe the love of God, that it wrapped around me, it enveloped me, and that's the kind of love that the Lord has for you today.
Amen.
He wants to wrap himself around you and love you. How are you different after that?
I had a friend, he had one of them Birdie Brunch station wagons, and we filled it up twice to throw away the witchcraft stuff.
Wow.
And I was broke, but happy. I didn't have furniture, but I was happy. I didn't have to borrow clothes, but I was happy. And for the first time, I felt light.
I was going to say, like, I see the light in your eyes. Did people know, people that had known you, were they like, John, what has happened to you?
Oh, yes. I mean, I got people that tell me right now, your eyes are different. Your eyes are different.
Yes, they sparkle.
What did the warlocks do? Because you have all these people that have invested all of this into you. What do they have to say about this?
Because, of course, they would immediately turn against you.
Oh, I got a phone call last December from the people in Miami. And they said, we hate you. Why are you still exposing us? We're going to still come for you. And I started to minister. And they started to cough and manifest on the phone, and hung up the phone because they couldn't handle the power of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
But I love that. You're not scared of them. You've got a greater power on the inside.
Oh, I'm not scared of nobody.
So talk
I
about
fear
the
Jesus, that's
power.
it.
Yeah, talk about the difference between the power of darkness and the power of God. Compare those two.
There's no comparison. You can't compare Jesus to nobody. You know, even when Moses, he made a promise to Moses. He said, "I'll be back and let me see who I can swear myself to." He came back and the Lord said, "This one want to swear. I am it. You know, I'm the one. There's no greater. You can't compare Jesus to nobody. There's no comparison. Jesus has to be revealed. He can't be told."
What about your mom and your family? What happened as a result of you making that decision?
That's another show. My mom was a Jehovah's Witness for 8 years. And because of the love of Jesus Christ, my mom almost died 5 times in one day. And all the Christians bum rushed the hospital. My mom gave her life to the Lord. My grandmother, before she passed away, gave her life. My brother, he was homosexual, bisexual, trisexual, and transvestite and married.
Oh,
and a witchcraft, my brother, my second oldest brother. We used to have fights, and my mom used to say, you come an hour before, you come an hour later. And my brother got heart attack. He was going to go for surgery. I went to the hospital and preached the gospel to my brother. And my brother accepted Jesus. And a week before his birthday, he went home with the Lord.
And your daughter?
My daughter, she renounced all the stuff of witchcraft, and I let my daughter to the Lord.
My goodness.
Wow.
So God is good.
Yes, of course, the books, you know, we barely scratched the surface. 2 books, Out of the Devil's Cauldron and his new book, Strategies to Defeat Eternity's Greatest Enemy, Unmasking the Devil. This is the brand new book. We only have a couple of minutes left. I just want you to look in the camera, if you would, John, and encourage those. I believe we're right here. Encourage those that are watching today. Why Jesus is the answer to every question. You know, one thing I want to say to people real quick, I tried clubs, women, money, the devil himself for 25 years. Contract, everything, and nothing can fulfill your life. Nothing can touch your life. Nothing that can repair and put your life in whole shalom, nothing missing, nothing broken. But the man himself, the man Jesus. Trust me, I have nothing broken in my life, all because I say yes to Jesus Christ and no to the devil. And whatever situation you're in, do one thing. Give Jesus, take the Pepsi challenge. Give Jesus 30 days. And I guarantee you, you'll be calling the show and share your testimony that your life has been changed and transformed by the Creator that loves you beyond you can ever imagine. Amen. Well, we're out of time. I want to thank John for joining us at the table. Be sure to check out his book, Unmasking the Devil. A lot more information in there. It's available now. And for more about his ministry, you can visit him online at johnramirez.org. And listen, if you're watching today and you're tired of being beat up by the enemy, you can kind of understand some of the things we've talked about. You've experienced some things you don't really understand. You want freedom today. I'm going to tell you that Jesus has overcome all the works of darkness by the finished work of the cross. He did it all for me, for you, and for everyone sitting at this table. And all you have to do is call out on his name today. There's a number on the screen. We have wonderful prayer partners that are standing by, ready to pray with you. You can also go to daystar.com, click on prayer, send your prayer request in. If you have a question, if you want someone to call you back, if you get a busy signal, we'll call you back. We would love to pray with you today. We'd love to encourage you and let you know that God is not finished with you. We'd also like for you to join the conversation online by leaving us a comment on Facebook, or you can tweet me at DaystarJoni. Remember to use hashtag Joni Table Talk. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, John.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing your story. We appreciate it
be
so much.
with
Honored to have
amazing people
you.
of God. Thank you.
Amen. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for today.
This has been a Daystar Television production.